What in the world?
This being Renan territory, I was prepared for a lot of things to look different. But this is a bit more than I anticipated.
The very foundations of the city have shifted. What could have caused this?
When Lenegis changed shape, it must have had an effect on the interior too.
Maybe when they sent the wedge down to Dana?
But they wouldn't move around the places where people live. These are their homes, right?
I would think the citizens themselves didn't have much say in the matter. Either way, locating the Forbidden Zone just became that much trickier.
Dohalim? Is that you?
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't you be down on Dana participating in the crown contest? And these people!
So you haven't heard what happened on Dana, then?
Heard what?
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim, don't tell me you've started keeping company with...
They're with me. More importantly, what's happened here?
I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to shift without warning, and now everything looks like this. We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening, but so far...
Avakir, listen to me. We're looking for the Forbidden Zone. Do you have any idea where we might find it?
The Forbidden Zone? What business could you possibly have there?
Trust me. The less you know, the better.
You're just the same as ever. I wish I could help, but what with the changed topography, I can barely locate my own home. Let alone the Forbidden Zone.
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find the way there ourselves.
Have you seen Faria yet?
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with her. If anything, she's probably even more...
I can well imagine.
Why did you come back? You know it can only result in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
You really are the same as ever. Fine, I understand. Just don't say I didn't warn you. And take care of yourself. Okay, Do?
So who's Faria?
Law?
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are being kept in the dark about what's happening down on Dana.
They seem to be just as clueless about what's going on up here in their own world. Despite the fact that it's actually here that the wedge originally came from.
We need more information. Let's talk to the citizens, see what we can find out.
While we're at it, we can ask them about the Red Woman, too.
And don't forget about finding the way to the Forbidden Zone either.
Let's leave the talking to Shion. We can't have a bunch of Danans poking their noses around.
Good idea. I think that's for the best.
I shall assist.
You sure?
Being a lord on Lenegis has its advantages.
Right. Then we'll leave it to you two. The Danans among us should probably keep our heads down.
What if people freak out?
I shall explain it away by saying I'm leading you.
What are we, dogs?
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess this has all become. Just look at the state of our city. Even the Zeugles have stopped heeding our commands. Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no prior decree. His Highness must have deemed it unnecessary for us to know. We have no choice but to grin and bear it. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Ilkaris? I believed he was on Dana.
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes. First Lenegis mutates beyond recognition, now this unexpected visit? The Sovereign's plans are inscrutable indeed. The Ilkaris house has produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be praying for your victory in the latest crown contest.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Everything will be okay now.
I know the basics of healing arts, but my skills pale in comparison.
Your lordship! Oh, what a great honor it is to finally meet you. I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned. I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone of that description?
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Yeah. What about down on Dana during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time. Is everything okay? You look a little lost.
Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home, is all. I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dana competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it. I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way of knowing for sure.
It's worth investigating, at least. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here. If it looks safe, I'll come and let you know.
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling himself for someone of my lowly status?
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Renan, first and foremost.
Oh, why yes, my lord. Thank you.
Well, we've canvassed the city for information. What do you think?
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all. They haven't heard the news about the crown contest either.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here. Has it always been like that?
Not to this extent. Which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth. That Lenegis is under some kind of control.
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people here seem weirdly okay with it all.
Yeah, that one guy even said Zoogle had stopped listening to him. If that's true, these people are in big trouble.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been conditioned. Their belief runs deep. Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all part of the Sovereign's grand plan.
The Sovereign's plan. There is one thing I'm still not sure about. Just who is this person ruling over Lenegis?
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and Lenegis.
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena at least the same size as Dana? That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis alone would be difficult enough.
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign's total authority is as natural as night turning to day. Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rena itself is. Shion, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made a visit to the homeland?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no, surely not. Can it really be that no citizen of Lenegis has ever been there?
Hold up, what are you getting at, Dohalim?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself. No one but the Sovereign, that is.
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow back and forth, surely.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handedly. It could be a one-way street.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, can he really rule directly over Lenegis from so far away? What if something were to happen to the city, like now?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into the role, right? Just before the ceremony. But Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan ruler. So which one is it?
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor, before becoming ruler over all of Rena and Lenegis. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign. Though, it would appear that the current ruler has gone silent. As for how Volron factors into all this, at this point, I no longer know what to believe.
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just became, I was forced to. Me, a Dahnan. 300 years later, we cross paths with Volron, who also bears the Sovereign's crest. That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign without winning the crown contest.
Do you think Volron was made Sovereign for the same reason? Because of that ceremony?
I can't say for sure, but it certainly sounds like it.
But that would mean that 2 Sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purposes. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganath Haros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second. You don't think Volron and the Red Woman are working together, do you? The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions. Ones that it seems will remain unanswered, until we can establish the Sovereign's identity.
If the Forbidden Zone really is off-limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any to start. For the sake of liberating Dana, too.
Then it's decided. That's where we need to go.
One of the citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead to another section of the city. It could point us in the right direction. Let's go find it!
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, there's Sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld. And all...
But Dohalim was a lord, right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite strict.
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lenegis now. Balsif, Ganabelt, Almeidria, and Volron. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other lords.
Well, yeah, why would we? To us Danans, they were just enemies we needed.
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives...
It feels strange to imagine the lords living here too, you mean?
Yeah, a little.
If you're that curious about them, why not try and... Every lord in their household has their share of supporters here. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dana, which means they should be more inclined to talk to us.
Yes! Yes!
Balseph had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from comment.
What?
Ganabelt was so horrible to people, yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as...
Pardon me.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right too.
That doesn't make it true. Too bad they couldn't see through her.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Okay. Ah!
It Seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganeth Haros changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary. Remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces, and nothing exemplifies that more than the Lords.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Rena, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you. Because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the Lords were all people, too. Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals, just like the rest of us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Rinwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Dahnan doesn't make you a good person. And being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Xion and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust. As a fellow human being above all else.
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfrikt Milgras, the former Lord of Cyslodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfrikt whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegis?
I guess over Holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland, sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom? And to what end?
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
You and me both. Though we are Renan by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Core existed, remember?
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
Do?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait. Don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dana already. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnagin to secure your position as Lord, you still...
Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Dahnan rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
What's this thing?
Wow, this place is beautiful!
Yeah. It must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renan sure know how to live it up, don't they?
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, We used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnagin. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnagin. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
He was once my dearest, closest friend. As well as Faria's betrothed. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnagin and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnagin and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord. Tarnagin had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnagin was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait, don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less, she would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty, instead I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Dahnans there would still be suffering under Renan oppression like before.
Shion's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion. I promise he does.
I hope you're right. Alphen.
Yeah?
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways. You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe, but I still wanted to say thank you.
I see a medic and supply officer over there. If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer their assistance. Distance.
Have you guys checked your equipment lately? That came out great!
Damn it! Lenegis soldiers!
Any way we can avoid fighting them?
That all depends on them. Whatever happens, be ready.
Well, so much for them not wanting to fight.
Ho! I am Lord Dohalim of Elda Menastia. I command you.
Threats to the city must be erased.
No. Have they been brainwashed too?
Brainwashed or not, if they want to fight, they got one.
Where are you going?
The enemy wields ours too.
We'll soon see about that.
Not today!
Damn it!
It's wide open!
We're not
Won't escape me.
I'm ready! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
There! One more!
You're mine!
On guard! Plenty left!
I'll face you.
You're mine! Sword Rain Alpha!
Can't get out of this!
Here I come! Sword Rain Alpha! It's on!
They smite with blackened blade!
You picked the wrong fight!
Going in!
Execution!
Make it rain! Don't leave!
Hey! Blow them away!
There!
No chance! Dragon Swarm!
I'll take you all on! Ha! Flare the Malisa!
Those soldiers seem different from the citizens we've come across so far.
Yeah, they weren't big talkers, that's for sure. They just attacked without warning.
They weren't in the least bit fazed by Dohalim's presence.
Indeed. They seem to recognize us as enemies, nothing more. And yet, traditionally, Lenegis hasn't been high on threats. A few frenzied Zeugles during experiments here and there, but not—
Their glazed-over eyes reminded me of the soldiers and slaves we met back in Ganath Haros. The ones in blind devotion to Volron.
I've never seen anything like that here on Lenegis before.
Maybe someone doesn't want us here, and the soldiers are their way of letting us know.
What with the Red Woman, the Sovereign, and Volron, we're starting to develop quite the growing list of adversaries.
Yourselves. This one's tough!
Bloody howling!
Denied! Go! You're mine! These ones can run rings around us!
Armor won't save you!
It's on! Dragon Sword!
It's over! Hurricane in the sky!
You picked the wrong fight!
This one!
You're mine! Dragon Sword!
Yeah, and the pummeling to me!
Bloody I'm not done!
Stalagmite!
Great! Next!
I never miss!
Double Demon Fang!
Here
I come!
I'm only getting
Sword Rain Alpha!
Smash to pieces!
Eternal Devastation! You're finished!
the earth! Stalagmite!
Lightning Meteor!
Prepare to be sealed!
Dragon
Take
Swarm!
this!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Make it
Double
rain!
Demon Fang!
They smite with black
Here I
and
come!
blade!
Double Demon Fang! This one's all mine! Dragon Swarm! No escape!
Stalagmite!
Not today! Take this!
Anything in armor is all
Switch
mine!
to offense!
Dragon Swarm!
Great!
Begin! Look sharp!
Make it rain!
Shield!
This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes! We can really make weapons with this?
Brace yourself! This one's tough!
Here I go!
Dragon Swarm!
Into the shadows!
Begin!
Eternal Devastation!
Here I go! I think I'll pass on the hand!
Double Demon Fang!
Here, let me help! Going in! First
Here
aid!
you are!
You're mine!
Dragon Swarm!
In a bind?
Graviton
You're
Field!
mine!
Try to come over!
Dragon Swarm!
Into
You're
the
mine!
shadows!
One's all mine! Take that!
Primed and ready!
Dragon Swarm!
I'm only getting started!
Sword Rain Alpha! Burn!
Where are you going? Hurricane Strike!
Sword Rain Alpha! Try
Here
this!
I am!
Blackened blade!
I'm only getting
Shield
started!
back!
I'll heal you all! Enough!
Here I come!
Execution!
Hurricane Strike! On guard! Need to pull myself together.
Sorry.
I'm not done!
You do the same for me. Graviton Field!
Eternal Devastation!
Glacial Fire!
Elusive
Dragon
deity!
Swarm!
Can you take it?
Dragon Swarm!
This one's mine!
Here!
Plenty left!
Can't get out of this!
Dragon Swarm!
Let me help!
Here I come!
Aid!
Thank you!
No,
Take this!
This one's
Dragon
mine!
Swarm!
Deity!
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Take it! You're mine!
Take this!
Can you take it?
Eternal
Does it hurt?
Devastation!
Into
Try
the
this! Burn in hell!
Hurricane
Dragon
Fire!
Swarm!
Elusive
Look
deity!
sharp!
Double Demon Fang!
I'll smash you! Take this!
Look sharp!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Smash to pieces!
Eternal
Lightning
Devastation!
Meteor!
They smite
Take
with
that!
blackened blade!
Time to shine!
Dragon
Let the
Swarm!
marksman handle this!
Double
guard!
Demon Fang!
Execution!
Where are you going?
Charge like that could
Take
easily
this!
be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop it!
Heal my weary
Dragon
companion.
Swarm!
Into the
Dragon
shadows!
Swarm! All mine!
Flaming
Dragon Swarm!
Do it! Astral Energy!
Say no more!
Quite necessary when creating weaponry. This one will be difficult to predict.
I see what
Flaming Meteor! Here I go! It's over!
Rain Slash!
Shattering
Tell me, have you ever considered your personal life?
You picked the wrong card!
bloody
Dragon Swarm!
It's almost too strong!
In a bind?
Split it open!
Be my guest! Crush! Armor won't save you! You're mine! Release it!
I'm only getting started.
They smite. Try harder! Not a chance!
Here goes! It's over!
An astral art?
That's my cue!
Shut him down!
Take down! You're over! Too fast!
Stand back. I'll trip it up.
Dragon Swarm! Eternal Devastation!
Bloody
Howling! Out of the way!
Not in your dreams!
Dragon Swarm!
I never miss!
Resonate with the earth! Far enough! You're mine!
Now or never! Make it rain! This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes! Shine! Radiant light! Force of regeneration! Eternal Devastation! Dragon Swarm!
This one's mine!
Can't get out of this! Dragon Swarm! Pull him down! Pierce!
Here I go!
Not
This
today!
one's mine!
Blackened blade! Crush! Armor won't save you! Dragon Swarm!
Tiger Blade!
We're not...
I'll take you all on! Ha! Flare Demolisher!
Doubly! In an instant! Impact Block!
Sighted! You're mine!
Shield and face!
Dragon Swarm! Double Demon
Into the
Back!
shadows!
Dragon Swarm!
Make it rain!
Doubly! In an instant! Impact Block!
My exploits are bearing fruit.
I have a bad feeling about this.
You got spirit!
Sword Rain out!
I can carve through armor!
Elusive Deity! You're mine!
So much for talking it out. Nothing gets by me.
Will this help?
Crush!
Hurricane
Resonate with the
Alpha!
earth!
Not on my watch!
Rending you apart!
Sighted! I'll handle this! Going in!
How about this? Hurricane
Eternal Devastation!
denied!
And again!
It's time! You're mine! Dragon Swarm! Sword Rain Alpha!
Where
Resonate
are
with the
you
earth!
going?
Glacial Fire!
Rending you apart! You picked the wrong fight!
Tiger
I'm
Blade!
ready!
One more!
Winwell! Light Burst forth!
Radiant Genesis! Here I go!
Hurricane Strike!
Look sharp!
It's no time! Eternal Doubly! In an instant! Impact Block! I can feel my power growing!
Those soldiers don't seem to have any qualms about attacking on sight.
Is someone making them stand guard?
Gotta break through! Take this!
This one's mine! This one's mine!
Eternal Devastation!
Into the shadows!
Dragon! Time to cross blade!
I'll face you!
Does it hurt? Dragon Swarm!
This one's mine!
Dynamite! Sword Rain Alpha!
Pieces!
Eternal Devastation!
Now you see what I can do! Bloody Howling!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Stalagmite!
Double Demon Fang! Try harder!
Look sharp!
Dragon
I'll
Swarm!
face you! There!
Eternal Devastation!
Deity! On guard! Begin!
No further! Yours to be let free! Here I come!
I can handle it!
Take this! Blow away! Burn!
Hurricane
Sword Rain Alpha!
On guard! Begin!
Double Demon Fang!
Not on my watch!
On guard!
I owe you one.
Deity!
Can you take it?
Far enough!
Take this!
Pull myself together.
Look sharp!
Dragon
Hurricane
Swarm!
Strike! You're mine! I'll stop its charge!
Thanks, Kisara. Going here.
Dragon Swarm!
Take this!
Megasonic Blast! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Here I go. You're mine.
Dragon Swarm!
Here I go. It's over.
On guard!
Elusive Deity!
You're mine.
Dragon Swarm!
Can you
I
take it?
never miss.
Elusive
guard.
Deity! Blast!
Can you take
Here I
it?
go.
Dragon
Only
Swarm!
getting started.
Not today!
Into the shadows.
Going in!
Sword Rain Alpha!
I'll face you! Take this! On guard!
Take
Crush!
Go.
You're mine! Eternal devastation! Glacial fire! I'm not done!
Take it!
You're done!
It's over!
Here I go! The dragon swarm!
Begin! Does
Ready!
it hurt?
Healing circle!
I'm nearly done for.
Going in! Not on my watch!
They smite with blackened
Pull
blade!
myself together! Going in! You're flaming meteor!
Begin!
Double demon fang!
Elusive deity!
I'll smash you!
Into the tunnel!
Try harder!
Does it hurt?
Here I go!
Elusive
Only
deity!
getting started!
Dragon swarm!
No chance!
Double demon
Far
fang!
enough! And again! Here
You're
goes!
mine!
Do it!
Take it!
Kisara!
Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
This should come in handy when crafting weapons.
Let's dispose of the trash.
Eternal devastation!
It's over!
Begin!
Going in!
Double demon fang! Burn in hell!
Hurricane strike! It's over!
You're
Your
mine!
reflexes will not serve you well here.
Sword Alpha!
Hurricane strike!
In a bind?
Megasonic thrust!
On guard!
Here I come!
We're only getting started!
you take
it?
Here
I'm ready.
goes!
All yours, Kisara!
Not a chance!
Blood!
Dragon swarm! Crush!
Hurricane
Double
strike!
the flame inside me yearns to be let free!
Armor won't save you! I'm ready!
Kisara!
Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Not a chance! Lunar Rondo! You apart!
Bloody hell!
Megasonic thrust!
I'm ready!
Trigger!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
Excited!
My turn!
This!
Dragon!
Hurricane strike!
Elusive deity!
On guard! Here I go!
Eternal devastation!
Do it!
Ren Kisara! All yours, Kisara!
I'm ready for the next battle!
That's no ordinary enemy. I see over there.
We're in for a long slog with this one.
Bring him down! You're mine, Alpha!
That makes me the thorn in our side.
Dragon Swarm!
Denied!
Can you take
this!
it? Take this!
Dragon Swarm!
No further!
Mow him down!
Going
Take
in!
this!
Shattering of pieces! Attack time! Can you take it?
How about this?
Elusive deity!
devastation!
I'll face you!
Here I
Here
go!
I come!
You're
Dragon
mine!
Swarm!
Not on my watch!
Cure! I'm ready! All yours, Kisara!
Now!
I'll face you!
Dragon Swarm!
How about this?
It's time!
Flaming meteor!
Dragon
Smite
Swarm!
with blackened
Eat
blade!
this!
Into the shadows!
Damn it! Finish!
Shield and mace!
Armor won't save you! I'm ready!
Flaming meat!
All yours, Kisara!
Not a chance! Dragon Swarm! Down!
Here goes!
I owe you one!
Flaming meteor!
Pull back! Dragon Swarm!
Reflect
Double Demon
Pull
Fang!
myself
Take
together!
this!
Take this! Dragon Swarm!
Look sharp!
Look sharp!
Lightning Tiger Blade!
There! And again!
Elusive
Go!
deity!
Dragon Swarm! Time to let it rip! Megasonic Thrust!
Hurricane
Here!
strike! This one's
Dragon
mine!
Swarm! Blow away!
Gravitas field!
Elusive
Thrust!
deity!
Going in!
Take the
Make it
flame
break!
inside me! Doubly! In an instant! Impact Block!
I feel sprightlier than before.
This must be it. The entrance to the Forbidden Zone.
But it's just a wall. How do we get through?
Whoa, we? I thought this was Sovereigns only.
Alphen.
Yes! It opened!
Interesting. If Alphen's presence still opens the way, it would seem the Sovereign of 3 centuries ago and now are considered one and the same.
What?
What the...
Alphen.
You again.
Tomorrow's the spirit channeling ceremony. We'll finally play our parts as the Sovereign and Maiden. How have you been feeling?
What am I sovereign of? Shuffled from lab to lab, always treated like an experiment. Whenever they look at me, all they see is a Dahnan. I don't even know what their precious ceremony's for, let alone what they're going to force me to do as the Sovereign. Tell me, if we're both in the same boat, why do you seem so calm right now?
No choice. Becoming the Maiden's not something I wanted for myself. But they said Rena's prosperity depended on it. How could I say no after that?
Still, as a Renan, at least you got to decide. Good for you. Meanwhile, I was taken from my homeland. You aren't the captive one here.
It isn't right what they did to you, and I'm sorry for what it's worth. When this is over, I swear I'll help you get home. I can't do this alone. One more day.
How could I say no to that? It's not like I have any choice in the matter anyway. So, what's your name?
It's Naori. Naori Imeris. Try to remember this time.
You don't act like them. Like the other Renans, I mean. How come you treat me like a person?
Because you are. It's true we come from different worlds. But neither one of us asked to be here right now. In that sense, you and I are much the same. We couldn't do this. We wouldn't be able to talk to each other as people if we didn't see the humanity in each other. So I suppose the question you should be asking is, why wouldn't I treat you like one?
You're not like the others.
Maybe they're not like me.
Here's what we'll do. We give them their damn ceremony. You get me to Dahna. That'll be the end of it. I'm taking you at your word on this. I'm trusting you, not them. Naori.
What the hell just happened?
That vision. Did everyone else see it too?
That person Alphen was speaking to, she looked exactly like Shion.
It was Naori. Naori Imeris. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right.
She really does look like Shion. I'm beginning to see why Alphen was so confused.
That's all very well and fine, but what did we just witness exactly? It was too real to be a mere hallucination.
It was a conversation we had 300 years ago. The night before the ceremony.
You mean all of that really happened? We just saw an episode straight out of your past?
But how is that even possible? Unless... Could this be the Red Woman's handiwork too?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
You guys didn't feel it? The moment the entrance opened, it was like a stream of Dahnan astral energy rushing over us.
I felt it too. And not for the first time either. It was the same sensation as back inside the wedge.
That would make sense. After all, vast amounts of Dana's astral energy were being siphoned and sent up here to Lenegis. For all we know, perhaps we're close to the spot where all that energy was stored.
So you think it might have been the energy itself that was responsible for that vision we just saw? But how? And why?
We have no way of knowing. Maybe it's not even as deliberate as all that.
Shion, you okay?
Yeah. It was all just a little sudden. That's all. So that was my ancestor, huh? It was like looking into a mirror.
Yeah, there certainly is a resemblance.
What about you? How are you holding up?
Me?
Even putting aside the question of where that vision came from, it's likely we'll see more of those. Reliving painful episodes from your past. Do you think you can handle it?
I can't just pretend like the past never happened. Besides, if it helps us uncover the truth of what that ceremony really was, it might also lead to answers about your thorns.
Alphen.
That's not all. This whole time, we've been fighting to free Dana from the Renans. But now that we're here, it seems those same Renans might have it just as bad. I'd like to liberate them too if I can. Which is just another reason I can't afford to shield my eyes from the truth.
Whether you're on Dana or somewhere else, you always stay the same. Your indignation and righteous passion, your desire to free and protect, they're all hardwired into you. Not that I'm complaining. Come on, let's bust this thing wide open.
Nobody's here.
Stay sharp. After that last illusion, there's no telling what could happen in here.
Faria, how did you get in here?
Wait, something about her isn't right.
What's wrong with her? She doesn't even seem to know where she is.
Yeah, you're right. She looks just like the soldiers we encountered outside.
A summoning?
But that's preposterous. She never had that kind of power when—
We can talk later. Here it comes!
What? I've never known Faria to control Zoogles like that before.
How about with a stone that looks suspiciously like a Master Core?
What the? Where did she get her hands on that?
First we handle the Zoogles, then we get some answers.
Exploit the enemy's weakness.
Dragon Swarm!
Far enough! Got you! You're mine!
Here I come!
Go ahead!
Megasonic Thrust!
Never see what I can do!
Dragon Swarm!
Bloody howling!
Not in your dreams!
Look sharp!
I'm not done!
Elucidate!
Alpha!
No further!
Here,
Take
let me
this!
help! Shield
Dragon
and
Swarm!
aid!
Burn!
Appreciate the help!
Sword Rain Alpha!
I'll face
Try
you.
this!
Glacial Fire!
Blended Blast!
Deity!
Begin! Strike! Dragon Swarm!
It's weakened!
Megasonic Thrust! This
Hang
hit!
on! Rending you apart!
Turbine!
Take this!
Crush the
Magma
Magma!
won't save you!
It's over!
Look sharp!
Charge like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop.
Here I come! Ha!
This
Sword
one's
Rain
mine!
Alpha!
Resonate with the earth!
Take this!
Stalagmite! Rending you apart!
Look sharp!
Bloody howling!
Eternal Devastation!
Stalagmite!
Here goes!
Hurricane
I'm only getting started!
Look sharp! I'm ready!
There!
Resonate with the earth!
Look sharp!
Sword Rain Alpha! Hit!
Going in.
The
This
flame
one's
inside
mine.
me, yours to be let free!
Going in.
Dragon Swarm!
Shadows.
Mega
Flame.
Thrust!
No further!
Hurricane Flight. There. Going in. One more.
Blow away! Burn!
Begin!
Dragon Swarm!
Look sharp. Make it
deity!
Chill!
This ends now.
Consider yourself finished!
Resonate with
Take
the
it!
earth!
Hurricane Flight.
Ripping
Going
you
in.
apart!
Crush!
Shield and fate. You're mine.
Double Demon Fang!
This one's mine.
Sword Rain Alpha!
Oxbat!
Smash you!
Wits about you,
Take
people.
this! Lewis!
Unguard.
Dragon Swarm!
Elusive!
Here's a healing art. First aid.
Resonate with the earth!
Look sharp!
Stalagmite!
Into the shadows.
You made me angry! That was a bad idea!
This is looking good!
In a bind?
Lewis,
This one's mine!
Lunar Rondo!
My reach is even wider! I'll take you all on! Ha! Flare Demolisher!
Flaming
Meteor!
Dragon Swarm!
Don't suffer in silence!
Hurricane Flight.
It's on!
Resonate with the earth! Stalagmite! Time to
He's real!
This one's mine!
Take this!
First aid.
Dragon Swarm!
Confiscated.
Double Demon Fang!
Going in.
I can handle it! Resonate with the earth! Stalagmite!
Healing circle.
I'm ready to go!
Now, while it's reeling!
Take it down.
Dragon
sorry to
Swarm!
trouble you.
Ignite! Dragon Swarm! Mega Thrust!
Far enough! Heal my weary companion!
Hurricane Flight.
Another incantation ruined!
Where are you going?
Blow
Can you
away!
take it? You're mine!
Here's a healing art.
Does it hurt?
Here goes.
I've used too
I'm
much.
almost impressed.
My praise
Flaming
coming from you.
meteor!
I said almost. Don't get carried away.
I'll face you.
Eternal
Take this!
Devastation!
Take this! I can carve through armor! Time to
Elusive
shine! Deity!
Try harder! Dragon Swarm!
Elusive
Time to
deity!
shine.
Can you take
Hurricane
it?
Flight.
Take this! Does it
Blow
hurt?
away! Ignite!
Plenty left.
Dragon
Elusive
Swarm!
deity!
You're
Begin!
mine!
Here's
Dragon
the
Swarm!
mine!
Here goes. Flight.
I'm not...
Not on my watch.
Dragon Swarm!
Elusive deity!
Lunar Rondo! Attack!
Right. One down.
Try harder!
I'm only getting
Not a
started.
chance!
On guard!
Lunar Roar!
Hurricane Flight. Into the shadows.
Crush!
I could
Here's
do
a
without
healing
this
art.
pain.
Resonate with the
First
earth!
I
aid.
owe you one.
Glacial
Shattering
Fire.
them to pieces!
Hurricane Flight.
Bloody holiday!
Here's a healing art. First aid.
Take this!
Dragon Swarm!
I'm ready. On guard.
Resonate with the earth! I can do!
This
I
one's
never
all mine!
miss.
Stalagmite! Denied!
Ah! Dragon Swarm!
Make it rain!
Look sharp!
Lightning Tiger Blade! Now it's just her! Faria! Can you hear me? Faria!
She's preparing another summoning.
The art she's casting is way too powerful to control. At this rate, her body won't be able to take much more. Dohalim!
Forgive me.
Man, I thought we were goners.
Everything okay?
Yes. She's only unconscious.
Not her. I meant you.
Shion, please. Can you treat her?
I can try, but I can't promise she'll be back to her real self when she wakes up. All I can do is heal her physically.
We're not even supposed to be in here. Maybe it'd be better if we moved her to somewhere a little safer. Don't you think?
In that case...
I'll take her off your hands.
You?
Avakir, what are you doing here?
I was curious what you were up to, so I took the liberty of following you to find out. I overheard what you said about Tarnagan, about how he really died. I'm sorry, I had no idea.
And you believed me? What makes you so sure I wasn't lying?
I like to think I know you a little better than that, Dohalim. Give me some credit. I'll take Faria. Leave her with me. I know better than to ask what you're up to. But whatever it is, I hope it all works out.
Thank you.
He seems like a good friend.
He hasn't changed. He never was one to stand out. Instead, he was always hanging back, worrying about everyone else. As for Faria, it's always the closest to me who get hurt.
You don't seriously blame yourself for what happened to her, do you?
Somebody got to her, to strike back at me. Someone who knew me well enough to know that I'd hesitate to fight back. And the same goes for you as well. Neither you nor Faria would have lost loved ones, if it wasn't for me.
You're wrong. Kelzelik was the one who killed my brother, under orders from Almeidrea. As for Tarnagin, if it weren't for the crown contest, he'd still be alive. That and the whole damn hierarchy that makes it possible. But that's why we're fighting. To put an end to this whole messed up system that treats people as expendable.
Indeed. Ridding society of this blight is really the only way I know how to atone for my sins.
You can't atone, Dohalim. I know it hurts to hear, but those people are dead. No amount of soul-searching or trying to make amends is going to change that. Forgiveness, acceptance, those ships have sailed.
So I just forget the harm I caused?
No, the opposite, in fact. You remember. You never forget. You keep it in your heart always. And then you go on living. Not for those already past, but for those still alive.
For those still alive.
Kisara's right. So long as we've still got breath in our bodies, we can make a difference in the lives of others. Lives being the operative word.
That's what living's all about. Being able to still make a difference. Punishing yourself for the past won't make the pain of your conscience go away.
Only fixing the problem in its stead. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. You have to live for tomorrow, Dohalim, not for yesterday. And not only that, you need to live for yourself, and for the change that you still can be.
I shall try.
Don't forget, we've still got a mystery to solve. The Forbidden Zone, remember?
Shionne.
Huh?
Thank you. You have my deepest gratitude for what you did for Faria.
Glad to be of service.
I'm glad we could stop Faria without hurting her.
You all did much for her as well. I'm most grateful.
Oh, shucks. We're on... What is it, Rinwell? Do you hear something again?
Yeah. It's that voice.
The will of Dana's astral energy.
What? There's so much astral energy. But where's it all coming from? It's almost like it's alive.
That was the spirit channeling ceremony just now. No, it was more than that.
What the hell was that? It felt like everything was on the brink of... like the whole world was seconds from...
Oblivion. It's the same vision as the one my thorns show me. A vision of impenetrable darkness that swallows up us and everything else.
An empty void. A nothing so complete and dominating that there aren't even words to describe it. The end of time.
The visions of the apocalypse you've been seeing. If I'd known how bad they were,
So, everything we just saw, those were Naori's memories, right?
That's right. It was as if her innermost thoughts were speaking directly to us. At least I know they weren't mine.
That power flowing into her, it reminds me of Shionne's thorns. If they're what's responsible for all these visions she's been having, then maybe...
Maybe my thorns are made from that same astral energy?
If that is the case, we just found the missing link between your thorns and what happened here 3 centuries ago. No, more than a link. Perhaps even the very heart of the matter.
I've never felt astral energy so powerful. What was that?
If it's the same energy your thorns are made of, it must be dark astral energy, right? And isn't that something only Renans have?
Correct. Dark astral energy is possessed by Renans alone.
And when enough astral energy gathers together, it develops its own form of sentience. If so, maybe that complete oblivion is exactly what the Renan astral energy's will is wishing for. But why?
I don't know. Will can be a pretty vague thing to nail down. It's more of a feeling, just like the will of Dana.
But the will of Dana is made up of astral energy too, right? And if that's what's been showing us these visions... I don't know, should we really be getting so involved with this thing?
Dana's will would never want oblivion!
But you can't say that for sure!
Cut it out, you two. Squabbling over theories will get us nowhere.
Let's keep moving. If it's Dana's will showing us these memories, then I'm as clueless about its motives as any one of us. But if it could lead us to the truth, then I want to find out more.
Shionne's right. All we can do is keep going. If these really are Naori's memories we're watching, there could be truths in them I was never aware of. And I think they may be the kinds of truths I need to confront if we're going to keep fighting.
I'm sorry about what I said earlier. Come on, let's go.
Finally, we begin to understand what the thorns are.
Yes, and their source. A ceremony that occurred 3 centuries ago.
But we still don't know how to get rid of them. I just hope we can find a way. Soon, we might have to be ready to face anything. Whatever happens, I'm determined to save Hold up, you guys.
What is it?
I want to look through that room over there. I'm curious what we'll find.
That's the room you visited in your past, right? Sure. We can check it out. This looks like some kind of research facility.
A laboratory secreted away in the Forbidden Zone. Why am I past being surprised at this point?
Looks pretty deserted.
Let's check it out. It might give us a new lead.
I think I can make this work.
Well, can you make head or tail of it?
These are experiment records by the looks of it. Reams of them, dating back hundreds of years. Let's see. A composite being capable of controlling Dahnan astral energy so as to convert its molecular and elemental makeup. The creation of a governing central figure, taking the form of a Dahnan. Code...
Sovereign!
Wait, there's more. Research into utilizing force field crystals for the purpose of stable astral energy containment. That must be the Master Cores. With all this raw data, there's bound to be records here somewhere about the Maiden and the Lords, too.
About the Lords? Why would they be on there?
Think about it. The Lord's crests are clearly of a piece with those of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. Not to mention the fact that the contenders to the crown are selected from otherwise regular Renan citizens. In other words, it may be that all Renans are unwittingly being made subject to some kind of grand scheme.
What about the Sovereign? Does it say anything else?
Where do I start? All I've read so far is the headlines. There's so much here. To sift through all of it would require specialized... Wait.
What is it? Did you find something?
It's a list of names, with the title, Test Subjects, Sovereign. It's your call.
Read it.
There must be dozens of test subjects listed here. Hundreds even. All of them failures. Wait, I think I've found one that was successful. Test subject number 1273. Ethnicity, NA. Unique Adjustment Index, Generation, NA. Given name, Alphen.
They've re-engineered me. Right here in this lab.
Alphen.
It's fine, really. What about the others? Was I the only one?
Test subject number 10105. Ethnicity, NA. Unique Adjustment Index, Generation, NA. Given name, Volron.
Volron? But that means...
He's only Sovereign because someone made him that way too.
He's the last one. In 3 centuries worth of records, you and Volron are the only 2 subjects on whom the experiment was a success.
But what about the winners of the crown contests? Does this mean that none of them were ever crowned sovereign after all?
Upon victory, the Sovereign shall return to Rena and rule over Rena and Lenegis combined. When a new Sovereign is decided, the outgoing monarch shall relinquish their post and live out the rest of their days on Rena. So we were told. But according to these records, there have only ever been 2 Sovereigns, neither of whom had anything to do with the crown contest. It's all lies, including the part about the Sovereign residing in Rena. The crown contest was never about deciding a new ruler. It must always have been devised for some other purpose.
But even supposing that's true, someone must have been in charge for the past 3 centuries, right? If it wasn't the Sovereign, then who was it?
Crown contests have been held this whole time, in spite of the fact that there was already a Sovereign. Me. Meaning that for the past 300 years, someone out there has to have been maintaining that lie. The same person I'm willing to bet is behind all this.
The Red Woman?
It's possible. But that doesn't necessarily mean she's the mastermind behind this scheme. She could be working for someone else. Someone back on the Renan homeworld.
Either way, it's fair to say she's definitely involved somehow.
What about the data records? Is there no other information that could help us?
Not that I can see. Just file upon file of experiment results. There's nothing here about who's behind all this, or what their endgame is, unfortunately. I've barely managed to scratch the surface, mind you. You won't be able to read through it all, but you're welcome to take a look through what you can, while we're here.
I'll do that.
So this is where Alphen became the Sovereign. And Volron as well. The significance of this location would suggest...
Hey, it looks like the terminals in here turned on too.
We should look through them. They might contain valuable information.
Naori,
Don't talk. I have to do this. I gave you my word that I'd help you return to Dana. The next time you open your eyes, you'll be home.
But you...
My place is here with my people. I still have a duty to fulfill. I'm sorry for what you've endured. Rena never should have dragged you into this. It's not your burden to bear.
But...
The mask contains a sedative. It should keep your mind from tearing itself apart any further. Let yourself go to sleep. This should help with the pain. Time to go, Alphen. Farewell.
Naori...
His injuries are worse than I thought. Short-term treatment isn't going to cut it. I'll have to switch the healing pod to long-term hibernation mode. The chance of surviving hibernation's less than 10%? And worse, long-term use of the mask carries a high risk of damaging his mind and nervous system. But... If I don't head back, Lenegis will be nothing but ashes, and this starship along with it. I don't know if I can fulfill my promise to you, Alphen. But if doing this will grant you even the slightest chance, I have to try. I hope it's enough. Please, live for me, Alphen.
That vision. It must have been from when Naori helped Alphen escape Lenegis.
She sure went above and beyond the call of duty.
Even with Lenegis crumbling down around her, she chose to stay put with her people.
So that's why you lost your memories and sense of pain, and why you were asleep for that whole time. It was all the result of one agonizing decision Naori made to save your life.
Yeah. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't even be alive today. I owe her everything. More than I could ever hope to repay.
Now that you know how she felt, how do you plan on honoring her wishes?
She kept her promise. If the Renan people she fought so desperately to protect are at risk from a malevolent force, then I owe it to her to carry on her fight. Naori was the one who put that mask on me, and made me Iron Mask.
She did it to prevent your soul from tearing itself apart. She knew you might lose your memories and sense of pain as a result. But more than anything, she wanted you to survive. And you did.
This place. We've seen this in one of Naori's memories.
Of course. After 300 years, this is where it was held. The spirit channeling ceremony. This is where the Renis Alma was.
So this is the place where you and Naori...
The Renis Alma isn't here now. Nor is the Red Woman, it seems.
I know it's difficult, Alphen, but there will be time to dwell on the past later. For now, we need to keep moving. Come on.
Naori.
What is this? Is it the work of Dana's will again?
It's been a year since the ceremony. That day, I shut away inside of myself the power that caused Alphen to lose control. Since then, my visions of the future have grown more and more fearsome.
Is this another memory? No, it's different this time. It's like she's speaking directly to us.
What we did back then. Not so much as a day passes when I don't think about it. About what was done to us. All in the name of a ceremony. The purpose of which we were never even told. As Sovereign, they linked Alphen's consciousness to Lenegis itself. The Renis Alma was intended to control his power, lest anything should slip through its cracks. That day, as Maiden, my role was to temper his power. I was meant to guide it forth, and give shape to the strength inside of him.
Linked to Lenegis itself? But then, everything that's been happening...
But that power showed me a vision. A vision of oblivion. When I realized that vision was a prophecy of the apocalypse we were about to unleash, I couldn't go through with it. But without a maiden, the ceremony was doomed. Alphen lashed out, his consciousness no longer his own. I did what I could. Using my abilities as the maiden, I tried to seal that power away inside of me. But it was too late. Lenegis had already been brought to its knees. Thousands upon thousands of lives so cruelly snuffed out. All because of me. Because of what I had done. With the destructive force now slumbering inside of me, I knew I had to find a way to dispose of it. Anything to make up for my failure. But I didn't know how. Especially since that power was astral energy itself. In which case, ironically enough, the Renis Alma seemed to be my best bet. That, at least, would hold the astral energy dormant. Assuming that no malevolent third party got to it first. With the Sovereign and Maiden's combined power, perhaps I could shift the chaotic energy inside me into the Renis Alma instead. That's what I hoped, but alas, it was not to be. The Renis Alma was lost, and Alphen the Sovereign was in a starship bound for Dana. My only choice was to seal away the destructive force inside of me using my powers as the Maiden, to buy the world what little time I could. The time needed for a new Renis Alma to be crafted, and for a new Sovereign to appear. Even if by doing so, it meant I would be passing the curse on to my descendants as well. Please, forgive me. I never meant to burden the future world with this threat too. I only wish that there was something more I could have done.
Wait, you can't just... Naori.
That message just now, was it directly from Naori? Or was it the Dahnan voice speaking through her?
What?
These are the clothes that Naori and I wore during the ceremony 3 centuries ago.
So you're saying this is the Maiden's outfit?
That's right. These clothes are designed to resonate with the Sovereign and Maiden's abilities. They focus and enhance them.
And they appeared now because...
Naori must have left them here for the new Sovereign and Maiden, knowing the day would come when they would need them in their fight against the Thorns.
These outfits are directly linked to the answers we've been chasing this whole time. If they're here, it must mean it was Naori's will for us to find those answers as well.
Locating the Renis Alma would allow us to neutralize the dark astral energy inside Xion, thereby silencing her thorns. Is that what Naori's suggesting?
It makes sense. After all, Master Cores and Spirit Vessels are both able to prevent the astral energy inside them from developing sentience. By that logic, it would stand to reason that the Renis Alma would have the same ability on a larger scale.
We have a Maiden and Sovereign. Now all we need is the Renis Alma, and we'll finally be able to free you of your thorns. Xion.
It's possible? You really think so?
I do. We can rid you of your thorns and stop the world from falling to oblivion.
However, the spirit channeling ceremony already failed once. Even if our goal is different this time, we can't be sure the same thing won't happen again. We should take care not to be too optimistic.
You're right. It's the barest sliver of a chance. But if there's even the slightest hope it can work, I'm willing to stake everything I've got on it.
I know it's too early to let myself feel relieved, but I just can't seem to help it. Just hearing there's the slightest chance, even though I know the world's still in great peril. It's selfish of me, I know, but still.
No, it isn't. You found hope to believe in. It'd be strange if you weren't over the moon about it.
Rinwell's right. We can rid you of your curse and still save the world at the same time.
Thank you. Naori entrusted us with the fate of all humanity. Now, it's up to us to prove that trust was well placed.
Starting with a little game called Hunt the Renis Alma.
Yeah, we've come all this way. Now we just need to search Lenegis and Rena until we find it.
Yeah! We can protect the world and save Xion at the same time!
I too shall lend my services. My knowledge of Renan lore is bound to be a useful asset.
And they say modesty is dead.
Miracles just seem to follow wherever you go, huh?
How do you know it's me they're following? We're all in this together, Xion. You included. Now let's get moving, shall we? Last I heard, we had an apocalypse to stop. Thank you, Naori. So Naori sealed away the power that made me lose control of myself. She stopped my rampage and saved my life. But then, that power she'd sealed away was passed down to you. I'm so sorry, Xion. It's my fault that you're cursed.
You're wrong. What happened to you was because of the ceremony and Naori's attempt to stop Oblivion. You paid. The reason you lost your memories
is the reason for your curse.
The thorns.
It all leads back to them. But once they're gone, we can finally put an end to all this.
When my thorns are gone, I never dared to dream that such a thing could be possible. No, the truth is, I think maybe I've always been dreaming about a life without my thorns. The touch of my family, or playing with my friends, holding hands with Rinwell, or giving Law a deserved smack, embracing everyone. All the normal things that people do together. I always wished I could experience them for myself and finally know what they were like. Is it really okay for me to believe it can happen? I'm so scared of getting my hopes up. What if it doesn't work out in the end, and...
That's not going to happen. I'm here to make sure it won't. Forget fate or destiny or anything else. We're going to live a normal life. There are a lot of things you still want to do, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's such a strange feeling. I know that we've still got plenty of fighting up ahead. And it's for my sake. So I can live.
You're worth fighting for.
I believe you, Alphen.
Good. I'll keep on fighting. For as long as it takes. Until our future is finally in our hands.
That's quite some door, all right. This might finally be it. The heart of the beast.
We'll find the Renis Alma and the Red Woman inside, right?
After everything we've been through to get here, they damn well better be.
We'll probably be needing you to open this one for us, Sovereign.
Go for it, Alphen.
This is it, guys. Time to see what secrets are in store. Volron! He really was still alive.
And there's the Renis Alma. Then, is this another spirit channeling ceremony?
Wait, though. Something doesn't seem right here.
Once more, the powers must be united. Born from the fires of chaos, the world does seek its rightful state. All must be sacrificed in the heart of Rena, at the shrine of the true sovereign.
What has happened to him? He's lost himself, reduced to a mere cog in a machine.
Hey, look! Over there!
Isn't that the Maiden's crest?
Can it be that this entire chamber is meant to act as a substitute for the Maiden?
It looks like it's still running, but are we already too late to stop the ceremony?
If that's what caused Lenegis' transformation, then the purpose of the ceremony must have been to drain all the astral energy out of Dana.
But for what purpose? What could possibly need astral energy on that sort of scale?
I don't know. But whatever it is, I'll bet it's connected to those visions of oblivion. Regardless, we cannot stand by and let them steal Dana's energy. That said, we should retrieve the Renis Alma. Because right now, we need that most of all.
He's not gonna lunge at us out of nowhere, right?
Not the time, Law.
Alphen, look!
The Red Woman! So we finally found you. I have a lot of questions for you.
Wait!
What?
They all have the same face? How is that even possible? What is this?
Who the hell are they?
It can't be. Are they even people?
It's hard to know for sure, but I think they're the true rulers of Rena.
They're not feeling particularly talkative.
It's no use, Alphen. If we don't fight, we may as well be sitting ducks here.
Good point. Let's stop them before this gets out of hand. Take this!
Take it! Got you! You're
Try
mine!
this!
Will this help?
Explosive ring!
Grace on fire!
Blackened blade!
Healing circle! Tiger blade! Need to pull myself together.
Dragon swarm!
Need to pull myself together.
Dragon swarm!
Here I go.
Try this!
I'm only getting started. This one's mine. There!
Can't get... Here!
Will this help? You have to hold on. On guard. Healing circle! Hurricane
Resonate with the
again. This one's mine.
Eternal devastation!
Here I
You're
go.
mine!
How's this?
Dragon swarm!
This one's mine. Here I go.
Thank you!
Can you take it?
Going in. Will this help?
In a bind?
Dragon swarm!
I'm ready. Healing circle. Look far enough.
I mean, you're dead. I'm sorry to trouble you.
You do the same for me.
That helps.
The flame inside is yours to be let free!
I'm only getting started.
Dragon swarm!
Bloody holiday!
Megasonic blast! You picked the wrong fight!
Done.
Dragon swarm!
Hurricane
Megasonic thrust!
This one's mine!
Look sharp! Shine! Radiant light!
Hurricane
Force of regeneration! Dragon degenerate! I owe you one!
There! This one's
Their arcs were interrupted.
Begin!
Flaming meteor!
Elusive
Not on my
deity.
watch! How's this? Hurricane strike!
Begin!
Shattering the healing
pieces!
Come on! Hurricane strike!
Elusive deity!
Look sharp! Here I go!
This should do it! Dragon of flame inside me, yours to be let free! Megasonic thrust! Raining slap!
Going in!
Snap stalagmite! Rending you apart! I owe you one!
I'm ready! Here's a healing arc!
Dragon Swarm!
First aid!
Appreciate the help! Double Demon Fang! Not today!
Into the shadows!
Sword Rain Alpha! Double Demon Fang! Dragon Swarm! No further!
On guard! Here's a healing arc!
No escape! Eternal devastation! Can you take it? Denied!
Here goes! Maximum
Begin!
burn!
Take
Flaming mix! Take it!
Resonate with the earth!
Guardians in the sky!
Stalagmite!
I never miss!
Rending
Tiger
you
blade!
apart!
Hurricane strike!
Take this! Bloody howler!
There! Got you!
Dragon Swarm! Stalagmite! Now you see what I can do! Sword Rain!
This one's mine! Here I go!
Begin! Here!
Look sharp!
Eat dirt!
Hurricane strike!
Elusive deity! Begin! Try harder!
Maximum
Crush! Dragon Swarm! I'll thank you! I owe you one for that! Double Demon Fang!
Here I go!
Elusive deity!
Try to come over!
Take that! I'll thank you!
Here,
Not
let
done!
me help!
Now we're not... Take this!
I'll heal you all!
Scream!
Here's a healing arc!
Rending you apart!
First aid!
Here Dragon Swarm! Does it hurt? Elusive
Hurricane
deity!
strike!
Begin! Here I
This
come!
one's mine!
I'm not done! Resonate with the earth!
I'll take you all on! Ha! Flare Demolisher!
Here I come!
Take it! One more!
Switch off!
Begin!
Flaming meteor!
You're mine! Try this! Elusive deity! Explosive flame inside me! Yours to be let free!
Healing circle!
Glacial fire!
Here I come!
Tiger blade!
Elusive
I owe
deity!
you one for that!
Begin! Dragon Swarm!
This one's mine!
Not today!
20 left!
Elusive deity! Double Demon
Time to
Fang!
shine!
You're mine!
One more!
Dragon Swarm!
20 left!
Elusive
Reveal.
deity! Here I come! Take this!
Here I
Sword
go!
Rain Alpha!
I'm only getting started! Not in your dreams!
Shine! Radiant
Into the
light!
shadows.
Force of regeneration! Can't get out of this! Strike!
Here goes! I'll heal you all!
Dragon Swarm!
Hurricane strike!
Crush! Denied! Thanks! You're mine!
Here goes!
Dragon
Here I go!
Swarm!
Elusive
Hurricane
strike!
Not
You're
today!
mine! Going in! My natural defenses are fading. I'm a sitting duck!
Retreat from this battle.
Retreat?
Try harder.
I would never!
Breath of life.
I'll
No
bring you out.
escape!
Companion.
I never miss!
Double Demon Fang! Sword Rain Alpha!
Free you of your power.
You're mine!
Take this!
Shattering the pieces!
Eternal devastation! I'm not... Dragon... You're mine! Dragon... Elusive deity!
Look sharp!
Can you take it?
Here goes! Not in your dreams! Hurricane
Elusive deity!
Going in!
Take it! No escape! Eternal devastation! Dragon Swarm!
Hurricane strike!
Bloody one that! I'm not... Stalagmite! Dragon Swarm!
Hurricane strike!
Megasonic
This one's mine!
Eat dirt!
Go! It's over!
Take Dragon Swarm!
Here's a healing arc!
Allow me to help you. Explosive ring!
Hurricane strike!
Dragon Swarm! Can't get out of this!
There! One more!
Resonate with the earth!
Look sharp!
Another incantation
Eternal
ruined.
devastation!
Ready and ready! Glacial fire!
Let me free you of your power.
Gravitas field!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Hurricane
Rain Flash!
Here I go! Arch
Look
field!
Here I come!
This one's mine!
Look sharp!
Megasonic throw!
This one's all mine!
Elusive Beast!
I'm ready!
Look sharp!
Lightning Tiger Blade!
There!
Surrender! Fighting is useless now!
Do you think it's really over?
Astral energy. Watch out! They've got something up their sleeve!
What? It's self-destructed?
Alphen!
I'm okay. Just a little roughed up.
You had me worried there.
Who said you could touch that?
Damn it! He's awake!
I should have thought as much.
So you know this place?
Naturally. It was built for me, after all. We'll save that for another time. More pressing is how I'm going to tear you apart.
Even after all this time, you still insist on hating me?
You cut me down. Sovereign or not, you will pay for that.
You're obviously bluffing. You can't even move right now.
Really, is that what you think? Did you really think that such a petty device could hold me?
Are you going to claim it's because you're a ruler? Be it sovereigns or lords. In the end, they're all titles given by someone else.
Plus, what kind of ruler would spend all his time chasing Alphen, who happens to be another sovereign?
Idle prattle. I proved my worth and the Sovereign's powers were granted to me.
Were they really? We already know the title of Sovereign doesn't denote royalty. It is but an overblown codename for those with a designated part to play in these proceedings. You mentioned before that you were not the only one stolen from Dana, correct?
Yeah. There were countless. And every one of them besides me died.
All of those failed experiments, and they still kept going back to Dana. There must have been some vital reason their subject had to specifically be a Danan. Then there were the records we found in the library, for you and Volron. They were logged 300 years apart, and yet the data they took from you was exactly the same. Which leads us to a single conclusion.
Then you mean Voron was kidnapped just like Alphen? But then he became a
slave from Dana. Just like us. Isn't that right, Volron?
So he posed as a Renan and caused all that suffering to his own people?
How could you? If you knew the pain of being a slave, why would you inflict that upon others?
Renan and Danan are meaningless distinctions. Me and everyone else. That is all that matters. I will stand above all others and take what is rightfully mine, starting with this.
A red woman?
Another one?
Give your master back on Rena this message. No one makes a fool of me. Let them know I'll make them suffer.
Don't do it!
Serenus Alva!
Too late! You can't stay here!
We
Go. But know I will be your shadow no matter where you try to run.
Let's go.
Never forget, I am the one who devours everything. Who answers to neither spirit nor man. My word is law! I am...
Are you two okay?
Yeah. We'll be fine.
Is Volron... have we finally seen the last of him?
We can but hope.
Those red women. What the heck was their deal?
Could they be the ones behind all this? The same ones who put those soldiers in Faria in a trance?
What? Those brainless things? Either way, they've done a runner with the Renaissalma. Damn it, that's the second time now!
Whatever's stolen from us, we'll steal it back. The future's ours to protect. And right now those things are what's standing in our way. We can head them off at Rena.
Did you say Rena?
Volron mentioned a master of theirs holed up in the motherland somewhere.
If that monstrous form's their true identity, I shudder to think who they take orders from.
Yeah. There's a good chance it's not human. That's for sure.
So this thing over on Rena, that's what's really behind all this, huh?
They have the Renaissalma in their grasp already, so it's unlikely they'll have cause to return to Dana. I agree that Rena's our best shot.
Then we're agreed. Let's head back to the starship.
But seriously, I was not expecting Volron to actually be here.
He seemed to care not one whit about Renans or Danans.
Yeah, not in a good way like with us.
That enemy looks strong. I bet it'll be worth our while to fight it.
We're in for a long slog with this one.
Engaging!
Will this help? Look sharp. Watch for their ranged attack. Never see what I can do.
My shield! Release! I owe you one. Take this! Here! Damn it! It's over!
Astral Arch? That's my cue!
Shut him down!
Leave the spark!
There!
Far enough!
Here I
Blow away!
I'm only getting
Look sharp!
Too fast!
Stand back. I'll trip it up.
Eat dirt!
This one's mine!
Crush!
Deity!
In a bind?
Take this! The dragon form!
Elusive deity!
Ready!
Locked and locked! On guard!
You're disguised!
Not in your dreams!
The flame inside me yearns to be let free!
Don't suffer in silence.
Cast it on guard!
Raining slash!
Elusive deity!
It's time! Eternal devastation!
Outlace you!
Swarm! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Resonate with the
Here I
earth!
come! You picked the wrong mic!
Stalagmite!
Dragon
Bending you
Roar!
apart!
Here I go! Do it!
Chill!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished! Now! You're mine!
Into the shadows!
Pierce!
Elusive
Dragon
deity!
Roar! Remove!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
I can handle it!
You're mine!
Hurricane denied!
No further! Dragon Swarm!
Make it rain!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
I need to be stronger.
Retreat if you know what's good for you!
Bring on!
Elusive deity! Can you take it?
It's on! I'm going in!
Elusive deity!
Dragon Swarm! Burn! Fire support! No escape!
Hurricane
Megasonic Thrust!
Into the shadows!
Remove!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
Take it!
You're mine!
Elusive deity!
Dragon Swarm!
Can you take it?
Not on my watch! Make it rain!
Remove!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
Do you think we'll be okay to keep going?
I make no guarantees.
What the? When did it get pitch dark all of a sudden?
The lights are all out. Think it has something to do with the explosion back in the Forbidden Zone?
Doe?
You two.
Faria, Avakir. Thank goodness you're safe.
Avakir filled me in about everything. About how I ambushed you all.
She doesn't remember a thing, so she really was being controlled.
He told me about Tarnigan, too. Is it true?
What difference does it make? What's done is done.
Stop casting me off, just for once!
Faria, not now. It can wait. Dohalim, Lenegis is in grave peril.
So I can see.
It's the city's core reactor. It's damaged. Some of the basic systems we've managed to keep online, but complete restoration's still a way off.
You're an elite technician, though. You can fix it, right?
If so, then what's the problem?
Panic's begun to set in among the citizens. Until now, whenever something like this happened, the Sovereign would issue a decree. But this time, not so much as a peep. Any longer and we run the risk of riots breaking out before we can get things back up and running.
Forget the Sovereign. I doubt you'll be hearing from him anytime soon.
What's that supposed to mean? Do you know something I don't?
Suffice it to say, the Sovereign isn't the kind of ruler we thought he was.
That is, if he ever even existed, which is looking doubtful at this stage.
Are you out of your mind? Why, if people knew that a lord such as yourself was whispering such blasphemy, they'd...
There's no time to explain now. It sounds like we need to find a way to keep Lenegis from spiraling out of control.
We need to stop that riot.
But how do we do that?
Riots feed on discontent and unrest, right? So if we want to keep the peace, we just need to put people's minds at ease.
At ease? Like by letting them hear directly from someone they trust. That's it. Who's the highest-ranking person in Lenegis right now?
Lenegis wouldn't have a next in line. After all, you said the Sovereign rules over everyone directly, right?
Correct. The closest thing to an authority figure would be a lord. And the only one left is... Ah. Very well then. Avakir, you mentioned a few facilities were still online. Which ones?
Why hasn't the Sovereign said anything?
Please, won't somebody explain what's going on?
Is it over? What's going to happen to all of us?
Heed me now, fellow Renans of Lenegis. It is I, Lord Dohalim Ilkaris of Elda Menancia.
Look, up there! It's Lord Dohalim!
Hold on! He should be in the crown contest! Shouldn't he? Why isn't the Sovereign talking to us?
The Sovereign is seeing to other matters right now. In my capacity as Lord, I speak to you in his stead. You're afraid. As people so often are when faced with the unknown. I hope you'll allow me to put your fears to rest. The city's core reactor has experienced a malfunction. However, we have our top engineers attending to the matter, and things will soon be back to normal. I know that you feel abandoned, perhaps more scared and alone than ever before. But I ask you all to keep one thing in mind. You are Lenegis, not the Lords and Sovereign. The solidarity of its citizens is the mortar that holds it together. If we don't allow ourselves to be distracted by our differences, if we put our hearts and minds together and stand as one, I am confident we will find new hope. I would be honored to stand with you. Not as a person of loftier rank, but as another human being among many. I hope that you'll lend me your strength, for if we can persevere as one, I know a bright tomorrow awaits.
Your speech seems to have done the trick. Looks like the city won't be descending into chaos after all.
I only pray the relief will tide the city over for the time being.
What you said earlier, about the Sovereign possibly not even existing, was it true?
It's still too premature to say with any certainty, but I believe so. This whole time, this world we've been fed was a lie, built on nothing but falsehoods.
But it can't all have been...
I can believe it. After everything I saw in the Forbidden Zone, what they did to Faria, it's the only explanation that makes sense.
But what about hierarchy, Avakir? Authority? The very foundations of Renan society? How can we live without someone to guide us?
I'd say we found someone capable of doing just that, wouldn't you?
You? You can't be serious.
I have business I must take care of first. But once everything is over, I shall return. But not as your sovereign, nor as a leader the likes of which the people here are used to, I think.
But how else do you propose to rule?
I'm not sure yet. All I have is a feeling that here in Lenegis, a new dawn is on the verge of breaking. One in which people won't be judged by birthright or on the power of their astral arts, but on other things. More important things. Things like... oh, I don't know.
Musical talent, for example.
When I bumped into you after all those years, I said you were no different. But I was wrong. Truth is, you were always different. I feel like maybe now I can finally begin to accept Turnagain's death. To see a future.
You go finish whatever it is you've got to do. I'll hold down the fort here in Lenegis till you get back.
Thank you.
I guess you're not going to make it to Menancia for the foreseeable future, huh?
Indeed. Forgive me.
The people of Elda Menancia can look after themselves just fine. It's the ones here on Lenegis who need someone to guide them. Besides, with you leading the people here, it'll help spread the idea of coexistence beyond Menancia's borders that much faster.
Sounds like you're in it for the long haul.
How could I not be, after the second chance that I've been granted? From this day forth, I shall dedicate myself to the future inhabitants of this world. Though the memories of the departed shall remain forever in my heart.
Remember, you're going to be leading the people here, not ruling them.
True enough. Whatever would I do without you, Kisara?
With or without her, I suspect you're gonna have your hands full when the time comes. We should be heading back to the ship. Business on Rena awaits. Looks like the people of Lenegis can rest easy.
I couldn't have done it without your words of encouragement, Law.
Hey, you're the one who made the speech.
I think everybody can share the credit here.